Hello, Christina, Courtney here. I just pulled into my driveway. I'm home from running errands, but I had to share something with you. I am a personal self-help junkie. I absolutely love personal development and spiritual development, so I'm always looking for new ways to grow and to be more happy, more blissful, and to have more love on this planet. And so one of the things that I've been practicing lately is falling in love with strangers, because there's a universal law that we only get to keep what we give away. So if we want more love, we should be giving more love. So I've been practicing this in several different areas of my life, and the most recent one that I've been working on, especially this past week, is falling in love with strangers. So I do this thing, and I'm not like creepy or weird about it, but when for example, I just got back from the pharmacy. I was in the drive-through pharmacy lane, and I pulled up, and the pharmacist, who I've seen for years, I know this guy because I've picked up my prescriptions from him. I don't like know him, but I know of him because he's given my prescriptions before. I just looked at him, and while he was doing his typing and things on the keyboard and running my credit card for the transaction, I was just sending him love and imagining being in love with this beautiful being. And rather than focusing on his race or his gender or anything about him or what his life is like or the fact that he's a pharmacist, I just focused on our heart connection and that we're all part of one greater thing, the oneness or universal or the universal consciousness, or however you want to look at it. We're all part of divinity, part of God, etc. And so even though we're each unique emanations of God, divinity, the cosmos, whatever you want to call it, we're all connected. And so I focused on that connection. And I just fell in love with him while I was sitting there in my car waiting for my prescription. And he was like glowing, absolutely glowing, and had the biggest smile on his face when he gave me back my credit card and I'm signing for it, and he gave me the prescription. And it was just such a beautiful experience for me to see how me just having that emotion and that intention internally absolutely transformed him. And this has happened many times over the last week. Last weekend, I was at a convention at a hotel. It was like a conference. And as I went to go pay the bell person for my parking, I was waiting in line for a little while. And while I was waiting in line, I was just looking at him and imagining falling in love with him and just seeing our heart connection and just loving and honoring him. And the more I loved him, the more I felt love and loved, and I just, my mood transformed, and I was in such a good mood. By the time I went up to the cashier to pay him, he took my validation card thing and went to go validate, and when he came back, he had comped it. He had validated it for me. He didn't ask anything in return. I didn't tell him that I loved him verbally. I just had that energy radiating from me, of love from me to another human being. And beautiful things are coming out of that, and it's coming back to me. And that's not my intention. I'm not doing it because I want free parking or anything in return, but I'm just doing it because I want there to be more love on this planet. And last week there was another great example of how this happened. I was at my dentist, and I was getting an old filling replaced that was bad from like 15 years ago, and it was starting to like crack or something, so my dentist wanted to replace it. So I go in for my normal appointment, and I have really funky nerves. I don't get numb very easily, so they have to give me sometimes 5 to 8 times as much Novocaine as other people. And this time was a particularly bad day. They kept giving me more and more, and I just wasn't getting numb. And it was to the point where they were doing work on my tooth, and I was almost starting crying. And my dentist felt really bad for me, and I just remember sitting there in the chair feeling like the biggest wimp, and like, why is this happening to me? And just so like upset about it, but then trying to remember all these things that I've learned. And I was like, okay, there's got to be something good in this situation. There's got to be some lesson that I can be learning right now. How can I use my positive attitude to make this a good experience? And man, it was painful being in the dentist chair and my mouth not getting numb, tons of needles in my mouth. They finally had to drill into the bone of my tooth to put the medication directly into my tooth. It was horrible. But I just laid in the chair and I centered myself and I started sending my dental team, my dentist and the dental hygienist, just a lot of love. I was just sending them love and gratitude for taking care of me and just reaffirming all of the things that I know to be true, that I'm worthy of being taken care of, I'm worthy of love, and I'm worthy of things going smoother in my life, etc. And before I knew it, my dentist, who I've known for probably 8 years now, he's been my dentist, and he's never said anything like this before. We are not close. I only see him when I go to his office for dental appointments. He looked over at me and he just felt so bad for me, and he was feeling really guilty that I wasn't getting numb, and he could tell that I was starting to get traumatized by the situation, and he was like, "It's okay, I'm not gonna hurt you, like, you just keep letting me know how you're feeling and we're communicating." And he looked over at me and he said, "Don't worry, I love you, I'm gonna take care of you." And it was like, this man has never said I love you to me before. And with a bunch of stuff in my mouth, I said, "I love you too." And it was just such a beautiful, direct reminder for me and reinforcer of how in control we are of our lives, and what we put out to the universe is what we're getting back in return. And when I started putting out that love and gratitude, appreciation, and intentions for things to go smoother, and just centered myself and expected really great results, the situation transformed. It wasn't like a miracle all better. I still had to go through the rest of the treatment and we still had to manage through, but it made it a little bit easier. And so now as I'm in my car coming home from running errands, reflecting on all of these things, I'm just realizing how beautiful it is when we pick up these little lessons that we can learn and then try and implement them into our day-to-day lives. And I know that me personally, from this last week, there's been several times where me trying to fall in love with strangers has absolutely benefited my life and given me more love in return. So I just wanted to share that with you real quick in case this helps you. I would love to challenge you to start falling in love with strangers, and you don't have to do anything creepy. You don't have to tell them that you love them. You don't have to, definitely do not sacrifice your boundaries or do anything that's not in self-love of yourself, because self-love always comes first. So make sure that you keep that as paramount, but then just radiate that love towards other people. And I would love to hear what happens for you, if this works for you. So if you like this video, please feel free to like and share with all of your friends, and of course subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can follow me along my own personal self-care journey and journey of personal development and spiritual development. And looking forward to sharing more things with you of how I continue to grow along this journey, in hopes that it might help you too. So until the next time, here's to you living your blissful life. Wow, the lighting is horrible and I'm so hot and I need to take a shower. Time to go unload groceries.